Independent passenger train into Union Station. Well, everyone, we return to the oldest steam engine's history. Now, here's part 2 of Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe 3751, California's dreams. But before I start this video, I just want to put out one of my information that I mistaken. Well, starting with part 1. In part 1, I said 2 years later, in May, 3751 attended the grand opening of Los Angeles Union Station in 1939. But the actual information about 2 years later is she was given a larger tender 2 years later. So that's my mistake. Now, let's get on to this history. During World War II in 1941, Santa Fe 3751 achieved her goal, reaching over 100 miles an hour with a new 80-inch driver wheel. 3751 and her sisters still worked with the Santa Fe until the 1950s arrived. In the 1950s, things weren't the same. The railroads now started dieselization, as the diesels were now taking over passenger and freight service, as the steam locomotives were now being retired. But some railroads, like the Santa Fe, kept the steam engines just in case of necessary things. As seen in this image provided by AmericaRails.com, Santa Fe 3751 operated her final years in passenger service in the 1950s. She was now placed in storage at McDonald Junction in 1953. However, in 1955, 3751's sister, 3759, was brought out to the main line in February 6, as the Railway Club of Southern California has requested a special variety steam excursion from Los Angeles to Boston and back. In 1957, 3751 was officially retired from the Santa Fe and placed on display in San Bernardino, California. Well, what about her sisters? Well, her sisters were lucky, because all but one Northern were now scrapped. 3751 will never turn a wheel. But that is until the 1980s changed everything for her. In 1981, a group was now formed called the San Bernardino Railroad Historical Society, and they have a goal to restore 3751 to do excursion services. In 1985, the society has now officially owned 3751 at the border for $1. In 1986, work has done to get the engine out the park and take it to the California Steel Industries, where it will be restored. 2 Southern Pacific engines were used to pick up the 3751 and then take it to the industries, where it will be restored. In August, the restoration has been completed and 3751 moved under her power for the first time. The steam engine was seen in the breaking run after taking a freight train for a test trip. However, due to its age, it needs some resistance. On December 27, 1991, 3751 called her first excursion. Her first excursion is taking the California Limited from Los Angeles to Bakersfield and back. 2 Santa Fe's FP45 and 16 passenger coaches were used for this excursion. In 1992, Santa Fe 3751 was on her big task as well as taking a train from Los Angeles all the way to Chicago, Illinois, which is the Employee Appreciation Special. The engine spent 18 days traveling over Santa Fe's transcontinental route as 3 Santa Fe-8s and later 2 would take the special. At Williams, Arizona, GCRY, or Grand Canyon Railway, through a consolidation number 18, also met the 771 as it was waiting for the engine under a bridge. In 1995, the engine was displayed at Riverside Sunskip Orange Blossom Festival in Riverside, California. In June of 1999, the engine participated in Rail Fair 99 as the engine made a trip from Los Angeles to Sacramento, California. And other special guests was at the California State Railway Museum, such as 4449, Union Pacific 3985, Sun Pacific 2467, Union Pacific 844, etc.